Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It's a little bit frustrating at times. I think, when I first injured myself in the playoffs it's such a rare case, such a unique injury that we didn't really have a lot of, readily available research or case studies or really any information to have a concrete timeline. And, we were told that this might be a situation that we might find ourselves in, the one that we're in right now. And, I've been able to rehab a ton this summer, and sure, it's taken a little bit longer than obviously I would have liked, but especially the last couple weeks on the ice, I've been feeling a lot better, and there's definitely some light at the end of the tunnel for me now, and full confidence that I'll be back out there.
Thatcher Demko, moments ago up in Penticton, meeting the media, talking about his health situation. He used the word frustrating when it comes to his injury, and we talked about this earlier. Unique and rare, not a lot of research, but he's done a whole lot of rehab. No timeline at this point, which upsets Ryan Henderson. Among other people, and you as well.
A little bit.
Farhan Lalji's up in Penticton, covering Thatcher Demko and Canucks training camp. Farhan, the well-traveled Farhan Lalji. Yeah. What place in North America hasn't he been to over the last couple of weeks? Up in Penticton, taking a bit of a break here to talk with us. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and the Canucks are just slowly trickling off the ice. I was going to do this right in Pan, and you were going to get to see an actual practice, but they're just finishing up, as you can tell. They're all trickling off before Group B comes on a little bit later. But, the Demko comments were pretty telling, pretty refreshing from it, just in terms of his overall demeanor and his desire to want to deal with all of this and to take a real forthright and upfront approach. And, it was good to get some answers from him. Unfortunately, to Ryan Henderson's dismay, the timeline's not out there, but certainly sounds positive. We got a chance to watch him on the ice this morning before the main group went out, and he was doing some lateral work, was getting down into the butterfly, was facing some shots. And, I even sent the video to Kevin Woodley, our goaltending expert, and he said that, it's, farther along than I thought he might be. So that's encouraging stuff.
Does it bother you there's no timeline, Farhan?
Not really. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty unique injury. So for us to expect that would be tough. And he didn't want to put himself in that situation where he threw out a timeline and then potentially wasn't able to meet it. And then everybody believes he's got a setback and all of that. So I get why he wants to kind of keep that gray. And I also think he's being honest with it, right? And I'm sure that there's a cap there for him, whether it's a month or 6 weeks or whatever. And those are just numbers I'm throwing out. But I'm sure in his mind he's got a cap to it that he hopes to get back before something. But rather than putting too finite a date on this, I think it makes sense for him to go this way. Because at some point we know that Rick is going to be talking to the agent. He's going to give us a date. We'll all know.
I got a pretty good idea. I got to keep quiet. Anyways, listen.
Why start now?
Yeah, that's true. Listen, injuries, we're not just Demko. I mean, it's been a tough week. Dakota Joshua and his situation, and I just love the way he wrote that tweet and crafted it with his agent. I love the fact and same as Demko, both these players said, you know what, we're going to come out and we're going to talk about it. Something new we haven't seen in a while.
Well, and when you consider how this organization has messaged injuries in the past, it's probably a wise decision on the part of the players. And certainly it was interesting yesterday that, Patrick Allvin talked about two players that were having surgery in Teddy Bluger and Cole McWard, who was also out here skating in a pretty good clip this morning, by the way. But he said that, but then wouldn't say anything about Demko citing privacy issues. So, however you want to play that, you do. But look, it's probably best that these things come from the player, if of course they're not going to come from Rick. But because when the organization messages these things thus far, it just hasn't necessarily gone that well. So I don't mind it this way.
Well, one more injury that it kind of caught us off guard. Elias Pettersson telling Ian McIntyre in Penticton that the tendonitis in his knee is not 100% gone. He kind of still feels it time to time. That was interesting.
Yeah, and the use of the word tendonitis was also interesting because that's what the Canucks said that it was. But when he spoke at the end of the year, he certainly made it sound like it was more significant in the knee area and things like that. So Pettersson was out here today. He was on a line with Jake DeBrusk and Jonathan Lekkemacki. And Rick Talkin said that to me yesterday, that there was going to be, a strong likelihood that he wanted guys like Lekremaki and Elias Pettersson, the defenseman, who played alongside Phil Hronik in the morning skate here, just to get some run with some better players and see what they could do with better players. But as far as Petey's concerned, I thought he looked fine. He didn't look like he was laboring. But it's really, really important that this player get off to a really good start because, the team shot out of a cannon last year. Yeah. I don't know that they're going to be able to shoot out of a cannon again. They'll still be solid. Like, I'm not expecting regression or whatever, but just, they might wind up with the same amount of points, but it might just come in different segments. So I think they were, 10-2-1 in their first 13 games last year. I think that might be a lot to ask. So if all of a sudden, let's say in their first dozen games, they're 8-4 and people think they're not as good, and Pettersson's not scoring, people are going to be looking at him. So I think it's important for him to start the season well. So how they use him in the preseason and in training camp is important if he's still dealing with that. And the club did announce yesterday that both he and Quinn Hughes would play next Wednesday in Abbotsford.
All right, let's talk about the team that's, we forgot about it. The BC Lions quarterback, Nathan Rourke, Vernon Adams, what's going on? They did not look good against Toronto. Who do you come back with next week against Hamilton, Rourke or Adams?
I think they're probably going to come back with Nathan Rourke. Now, they're making the decision later this morning. From my understanding, they're going to have a team personnel meeting, and I think they're going to have a pretty good indication of what they're going to do. And then they'll let the players know. But the one thing all sides believe is that they need to make a decision and move forward. They can't go back and forth and play yo-yo with these guys, right? This isn't, Kent Austin and Danny McManus who could play in the same game together on a regular basis. It's not how anybody wants to do it. I spoke to Nathan, and he felt that Vernon was put in a tough situation where he didn't play for 5 weeks, got no practice reps with the ones, and then all of a sudden got thrown in to play to give a spark. Talk to VA. He thought Nathan shouldn't have been pulled because he played really well in the second quarter. I got to be honest. I think it's one of the worst decisions Rick Campbell has made in his time as the BC Lions head coach with how he handled that. It made no sense to anybody, that you want to spark. But Rourke in the second quarter was 5 for 7 for over 100 yards and a touchdown run. So it didn't make any sense. So I think everybody understands you're going to make a decision and you're going to ride it. Like if a player plays poorly for a couple of games in a row, might you revisit? Sure. But you're not going to give a guy a leash and yo-yo him in-game or after a one-game thing. I think everybody believes stick with it, and we'll support whatever decision is made. Like even Nathan said to me that if it's Vernon, I'm going to fully support him and buy in. And Nathan said the exact same thing, or Vernon said the exact same thing to me.
Okay, Farhan, October 19th, I don't think we've talked to you about this, have we? You will be inducted into the BC Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And your buddies, Julio and Glenn Suter, they're going in, Paul McCallum. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Means a ton. And, quite frankly, it means a lot because it's as a builder, right? And, we talked in the spring about the Canadian Football Hall of Fame induction. But, that, for me, that was in the media category, which is going to come in November. And that means a lot because it's a national thing. And so many of our colleagues, are in that wing, former colleagues, people that we all grew up around, the J.P. McConnells of the world and the Jim Taylors of the world and so on. But this one to go in as a builder is special to me. And I know that, I remember when Bob Ackles came back, he and I used to talk a lot about different areas of amateur football that needed growth and how he could help and what his vision was. And so to be associated with something that Bob headed up, it was his dream, his passion project, which his son Scott Ackles and Tom Malone and others took over. But to go in as a builder, I've been on the board of directors of BC High School football since 1996. And coached for a lot of years, 30 plus years, and tried to help grow the game province-wide, not just at New West or other places that I coached at. And the people that I got a chance to work with, and I'm still on the board of high school football, and the people that are on that board, a lot of like-minded people and other presidents and other people that have been a part of it, we all just care so much about the game. The game means everything to us. So to go in alongside of some of those people, I can't tell you how much it means. Like when I started the program at New West, first thing I did is I went to George Oswald. And I said to George, who's also still on our board, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's almost 80 and he's still on our board. And I said to George, teach me how to be a head coach. Don't teach me how to run certain plays, but how do you be a head coach? How do you lead other coaches and things like that? And now, to have him tell me that, hey, you're going in this category and be a part of that selection, like I can't begin to tell you how much that means.
The best part of that answer was, Farhan? is that you got to give that answer while sitting in some really comfortable looking seats. Are those seats better than the ones at Rogers Arena?
How would he know? He sits in the press box.
Yeah.
They're newer. They're cleaner. They're good. It's a really nice barn. Like I haven't been here in a while, and I haven't been up here for the Young Stars tournament because I'm generally too busy with NFL and other stuff.
Yeah.
But when it happens, this is a great facility. And, growing up, I used to spend a lot of time in Penticton, and then as things went, it became a lot more Kelowna, Vernon, Kamloops. I got to get back to Penticton. Lake Okanagan and this place is. I forgot just how much of a jewel Penticton is in this province. I got to come back more.
And the arena has nice seats. Farhan, thanks for this and congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.